And we are live. All right. All right. We live. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? What's going on? What's going on? Coach Beast is in the house. Give me a thumbs up or a like if you can hear me. And we're going to get into this thing. Also, let me know where you are coming from, what city and state you're in. This is my favorite thing to do when I jump on these lives. I love to know where you guys are coming from. Super excited to jump on this live with you guys. Really pumped. Really pumped. I'm doing good, coach. I'm doing good. Liberty City Warriors in the house. What's going on, Liberty City? We got Detroit in the house. We got Georgia in the house. Is that Toccoa, Georgia? Did I say that right? We got Cincinnati, Ohio in the house. Chattanooga, Tennessee in the house, right down the street from me. Let me see. We got New Jersey in the house. We got Canada in the house. What's up, guys? How y'all doing? How you doing? So, of course, as you guys know, I'm here to answer your youth football questions. I'm going to stay on here for a good 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what questions you guys have. Really excited. I also have some questions that were asked from coaches that I want to answer as well. Let's see here. I'm going to be navigating through YouTube and Instagram, guys. So I'm going to be getting y'all questions through YouTube and Instagram. Really excited. Before we get into this thing, do me a solid, guys. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You're going to help me reach other youth football coaches because the goal is simple. We want to make youth football great again. That's right. We want to make youth football great again. And the best way to do that is for us to come together as a brotherhood and sisterhood and learn from each other and make youth football great again. Super excited. We got St. Pete, Tampa in the house, the T-Birds 10U team. What's up? What's up? We got Indiana in the house. What's up, Indiana? Chicago in the house, one of my favorite places to visit. Chicago. What's up? What's up? Let me see here. We got New York in the house. We got Phoenix, Arizona in the house. We got New Hampshire in the house. We got North Florida in the house. And listen, guys, if I miss your question, feel free to drop it again. Or you can super chat it if you are watching this on YouTube to make sure that I'm able to get to you guys. So really excited. I'm going to go ahead and get to the first question, and then we're going to get this ball to rolling, guys. Oh, man, we got North Florida. Go Flashes. Man, I love giving y'all love too, man. I love it. I love it. So the first question the coach had was, how can I communicate effectively with parents about their child's progress and playing time? This is a good one. We starting off with a really good one. So, for me, guys, what I usually do, I'm big on communication. So I try to talk to as many parents as I can after practice or even before practice. Okay. All parents are different. Some parents are more standoffish and they don't really want to know the progress of their child. They let you coach. Other parents are a little more hands-on and they want to know, if what they can do to improve their kid, or they may have concerns about something. But I try to make it a duty, guys, to talk to all the parents in the program at least once a week. And I try to afford that time to talk to my parents after practice. And I will walk up to the parents and just talk to them and then just tell them about their son. Little Jen is doing good. He's working on his blocking. He's working on his technique. We just trying to get him in shape, whatever, and then I may tell the parent, hey, maybe if he drinks a lot of sodas, put him on water or, Propel or something like that instead of sodas. I'm always just trying to communicate with the parents to let them know that, hey, I care about your kid. And that's like super important to a lot of parents. Now, you know, you will have parents who are a little more, I guess, bossy, forthcoming. And I try to let my parents know day one how I move, how I lead my team. You know, I let my parents know, look, I'm an open book. Feel free to talk to me about if you have any questions or concerns. However, you know, I'm going to put your kid in the best position to be successful. That's like my key phrase. I'm going to put your kid in the best position to be successful. And so you have to let me lead and you have to let me do what I do, you know? So I try to do that day one because it's super important. If you don't do that day one and you leave everything up to interpretation, what's going to happen is you're going to run into parents who has an expectation that, oh, my son's supposed to be quarterback. You know, I want my son to be quarterback. And if you haven't said, I'm going to put my kid in the best position to be successful, the chances are that parent going to come back to you saying, hey, could you try my son at quarterback or running back or something like that, which creates problems down the road. And you really don't want that to happen. All right. Next question here. And then I'm going to get to your questions as well. So guys, two, how can I effectively teach young players the fundamentals of blocking and tackling? Oh man, that's a loaded question. Okay, I'm going to make this really simple, really simple. Well, first and foremost, if you haven't already, I have my free offensive blocking drill book in my store. If you see that banner at the bottom of the screen, you can go there and you can get a free copy of my offensive blocking drill book. Okay. Number one, get that because that's going to show you everything that I do on a base level to really improve our blocking in our program. And for me, as most of you guys know, that blocking is the most important thing in youth football, in my opinion, other than tackling. If your kids can't block, your offense cannot be fluent. Your offense cannot dominate. They cannot dominate in the trenches. So we make it a priority to be the best blocking team in our league, and we take pride in doing that. So we rep it out with the drills. The drills is going to be in the drill book. We do a lot of one-on-one drills, two-on-one drills. We just want to get them comfortable doing the simple things right. So, you know, believe it or not, guys, I'm very simplistic in terms of my approach to development on the youth level. A lot of our drills are about stance, hand placement, foot placement, technique. You know, we slow it down and then we speed it up. You know, like we don't go right into an Oklahoma drill when we're teaching the kids how to tackle. We're going hawk tackling drill. They're learning where they need to tackle, how they need to wrap, how they need to roll, and where they need to target, things of that nature. We work that in very slowly. And then once our kids grasp that technique, now we're beginning to teach them how to angle tackle. And, you know, we have them tackle maybe within a 5-yard radius, right? Then we may spread it out a little farther, but we don't put our kids in a position to where they get hurt. And that's the key when it comes down to blocking and tackling. We want to focus on the fundamentals, making sure they're really good at that. Then we start to really dog it out with our gauntlet drills and our different blocking and tackling drills that we have. So great question. Great question. So let me get to some of you guys' questions. And I'm going to start here. Let's see what's going on with YouTube. What's going on with YouTube? Let's see. Head coach here. My team just won a championship in Division 3. Do you think we should move up to Division 1 or 2 for this coming season? Well, first and foremost, coach, congratulations for winning the championship. Now, I will tell you, based off of experience, when you win the championship, you feel like you just beat a video game, right? And now you're ready to go to the next level. But, you know, I always say this, just because you win a championship, the next season resets, right? And you may win a championship this season, but the next season you may have a mediocre team, depending on, you know, what you got coming back and who you're playing in that league, because they get players too, right? So, you know, it's up to you. but being someone who has won a championship, then moved to another league, you know, I like to kind of build consistency. So if I can be in a league for 1 or 2 years, or in a division for 1 or 2 years, maybe even 3 years, I'm going to do it. Right now, if I'm comfortable in a certain league, I like a certain league, which me personally, I love 12U, 12, 13U, right? So I will live there, right? When I first started coaching, I was 9U, 10U, and I enjoyed that. But I was in that for 5, 6 years before I even moved up to 12U. And I wanted to get familiar and comfortable with coaching and understanding what's going on. And I wanted to build relationships with other coaches. And then in time, I moved up. So, you know, like I said, coach, the choice is up to you. But, you know, at the same time, if I was you and that's my first championship, I'll stay at least another year to kind of see where I'm at. If I win another championship or go far in the playoffs, I'm definitely going to consider moving up for sure. Great question. Great question. Coach says, what's your opinion on a 5-3 defense? I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of the 5-3 either, to be honest with you. Not because I don't think it's a good defense. I do think the 5-3 is a great defense, especially for youth football. It's probably one of the most common defenses you will see because it is a run-stopping defense. I personally prefer the 6-2 defense, okay? I love the 6-2. I won a championship running the 6-2, and it was very easy to install that defense. But what I've learned with the 6-2 defense is that your defensive ends got more leeway and freedom on the edge. A lot of my defensive ends, they end up a lot of times being unblocked, especially that weekend defensive end, just because you got that extra man on the interior hitting the A gap. So we do a lot of A gap penetration, and it just collapsed the pocket with a lot of youth football teams. And so, you know, if I had to choose, you know, if I was going to do 5-3 defense, 6-2 defense, 6-3 defense, which is another good one, I would go 6-2 defense because it's tried and true and it works for me for sure. For sure. Let me see here. Great question, Coach. All right. Raw Detroit says, Coach Beast, can you use, and I'm gonna try to get these questions on the screen. There we go. I'm learning this system, guys. Raw Detroit says, Coach Beast, can you use the Beast system in high school? You absolutely can. You absolutely can. There's a few schools that I actually seen run the Beast. And let me premise by saying this. Most coaches don't know what the Beast offense is. The Beast offense is a single wing offense. All right. It's just a variation of the single wing offense, guys. Everybody who know football know what the single wing offense is. It's been here since the early 1900s, since 1901, right? So, you know, shout out to Bibb County. When I was coaching the high school level, we was playing a team called the Bibb County Choctaw, and this a few years back, and they ran a variation of the Beast offense. The only difference is one of their Beast backs, they had lined up on the opposite side, the boundary, and they'll use that guy as a motion guy. And you know, they played us and they dominated us. Just be honest. And all I can do was laugh because I teach the Beast offense, and just seeing them run it was just crazy. And there's a few more teams here in Bama that I've seen run it or run a variation of it. You can definitely run it. This is my opinion, though. If you are a high school coach and you want to run the Beast offense, run it, but mix it with other formations as well, okay? It wouldn't hurt you to run, you know, spread, and then you got the Beast that's a power formation, right? You know, our team will, like I tell everybody, I'm a multiples coach. What's up? MSF, what's up, man? Callie in the house. That's what's up. But I'm a multiples coach, guys. I run spread, I run and gun, I go West Coast. Of course, I run single wing, double wing. I'm a multiples guy, right? So I would say if you're gonna run it in high school, that's fine. Mix it with something else, partner it with something else, and you'll be good. All right. Sacramento Dragons. That's what's up. That's what's up. And get to some more of your questions. All right. Now, my Instagram people, I know y'all come through strong. I'm scrolling up to make sure I didn't miss none of your questions. Again, guys, if you can see with the banner right now as well, while I'm going through these questions, my biggest bundle, the Beast Unleashed Playbook bundle, got all 16 of my playbooks. I got it 85% off in my stand store, guys. So I got the link right there. You can see it at the bottom of the screen, and you can go to my stand store, get them playbooks, get ready for this season. One thing about me, I don't BS when it comes down to giving you what works, and I'm sharing everything as it relates to what has worked for me over these 15 years of coaching. And the thing I'm most excited about is when I get messages from you guys saying you won a championship, or you was 2-10 the previous year. Now you're 10-2, right? And you made it deep in the playoffs or whatever, right? Whatever your goals are, it's nothing more fulfilling and gratifying to me than to see you guys winning championships, winning in your league, and your kids happy, you're happy, the whole 9 yards. All right. Let me see here. It's so many questions, guys, y'all dropping. I don't even know which one to go with. Let's go with CL Garrett here. Let me see here. My organizations limit how far red stripes can play outside of the tackle box. That's been my struggle. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, because I know some of you guys are in leagues where it's a lot more, strict in terms of where the big guys line up. So if you got a rule, for example, where your tackles can't line up past the B gap, for example, you have to roll with that. And I like to use my linebackers to kind of offset that. For example, some leagues got it where if you're running a 4-4 defense, you can't blitz your linebackers. Okay, fine, no problem. So what we do is we'll go 6-2. We'll just drop those outside linebackers on. We'll put them on the line of scrimmage and just have them blitz that way, and that way that's inside the rules, and that's the thing, guys. You don't be afraid to adapt. Don't be afraid to adapt, because that's what makes a good coach. When the league say, well, you can't do this, okay, that's fine. We'll tweak it here. We'll tweak it there. You don't have to do like a whole, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have to totally uproot your formation because your league said, well, you can't blitz, or, your defensive tackles can't go outside the tackle box, whatever. All right, just tweak it. Small tweaks. Really, really simple. We got New Mexico in the house. What's up, Mark? What's up? That's right. As you guys know, my wife, Miss Beast, she's from California, but a lot of her folks, especially on her mom's side, stay in New Mexico. So shout out to Coach Beast. She's in the chat. She's in the chat regulating a little bit. Let me see here. Okay, Whoa 27 says, wow, we play 4-4 and we got killed with the outside run. Okay, if you're running the 4-4 defense and you getting killed with the outside run, you got one or two problems on your hands. Okay, number one, your linebackers are not controlling the edge, or your defensive end is not controlling the edge like they should, and they're getting beat to the outside. It's that simple. Number two, you're not controlling the trenches. Your guys are not getting penetration. The offensive line is having their way blocking your guys. So, whenever we ran the 4-4 defense and teams are running to the outside, usually it's just because the team that we're playing is blocking better than we're tackling, and we're not as physical as the other team in the trenches. So you want to go back, coach, and assess what's the problem. Do you need to replace your DNs? Do you need to develop your DNs more, right? Do you have the right guys on the edge? One thing that I do, coach, is I'm putting my best guys, my best athletes, let me be clear, on the outside at outside linebacker. My middle linebackers are not my best athletes. They may be my smartest players. They may be players who are not afraid to tackle and to help clean up, but my outside guys are my dogs, okay? Those are my assassins, right? So I use them to do a lot of damage on the edge, and that's one thing you may want to look to do. See what you can do with putting some of your best players, right, on the edge. That's the biggest thing that I've seen. Great question. Y'all coming with these questions, guys. I love it. I love it. All right, let's see here. And what do you guys think about the Super Bowl, man? While I'm going through these questions, because I know for me, man, I wanted the Eagles to win. I am one of those people who got Chiefs fatigue. Of course, there's a great team, and I love greatness, but you know, I was rooting for the Eagles to win this thing. I'm kind of biased. You know, they got Jalen Hurts, which played at Bama. They got Smitty that played at Bama. They had a few dogs out there who played at Bama. And so, you know, for me to see the Eagles win was a big deal, right? And to see Patrick Mahomes get sacked as many times as he did made me feel amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah. And if you are a Chiefs fan watching this, I'm sorry, forgive me. Don't judge me, right, for rooting for the Eagles. I was just ready for something new in the NFL, personally. I'm a college football guy. But hands down, I was rooting for the Eagles this year. Big Farmer says, love your stuff. Let me see if I can put this up. I like when the questions come up here or comments. Big Farmer says, love your stuff, coach. Wish more coaches had the integrity you preach about. Central Valley, Cali. I love my California people. Y'all, my Cali people, y'all going to make me buy a house out in Cali, man. Y'all show me so much love over there on the West Coast. I really appreciate it, and also appreciate your kind words. One thing, guys, you're going to always get from me. I'm going to always be real and transparent with you guys. You may not always agree with what I say, which is okay. I don't say what I say for everybody to agree with me. I say what I say to speak truth to power, right? I say what I say because I want to solve problems. I'm a problem solver. I like to address problems head on and try to solve those problems. So you're going to always get real from me, guys. Always. And you know, if anybody got a problem with that, this probably not the following me, Coach Beast, is not the best option for you, because I'm gonna be direct. I'm gonna be real. You know, I get a lot of trolls time to time. One thing the trolls hate about me is that every now and then I'm gonna bark back. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. You know, most of the trolls I ignore because when you do what I do, it comes with the job of being a content creator. However, one thing about it, I'm a winner and I don't play no games. And so I let people know this the wrong page to try to play games, because I will block you or I will get rid of you fast, because this is all positivity over here and we're trying to help people, right? All right. We got Fresno, California in the house. What's up, Fresno? Let me see. Coach Steele says it doesn't matter how good you and what play you call, you still have to block. You have to block. You're right. You're right, Coach. You have to block. Like, guys, look, I don't care. And this is a big mistake I see a lot of youth football coaches make. Coaches will run a formation and they say, oh, the formation don't work. Let me change the formation. They're not even thinking about how bad the blocking is, or if the blocking is the problem, or the execution is the problem. If you're running, for example, the double wing offense and your team keeps fumbling the ball on, on a trap play or sweep play, that's not the formation's fault. That's your fault. That's the team's fault. Your team's not executing right. If you're running the beast offense and you saying, hey, the beast offense ain't work for me, we keep getting sacked in the backfield, that's a blocking issue. That is a blocking issue, right? That's not a formation issue, because you can have one offense that's running the beast and they put up 45 points a game, average 45 points a game. You have another one only average 14 points a game. Why? Because the blocking is piss poor. No formation is going to solve bad blocking, just like no defensive formation is going to solve bad tackling. At the end of the day, you got to tackle, you got to block to win games in youth football, and you got to execute, period. And if you control the trenches, your chances of winning the game goes up dramatically. And that's the big thing, guys, I want you to focus on. Focus on blocking this year. Focus on tackling this year. And then marry it with a dominant formation like the Beast offense or the Maryland I formation or whatever formation you want to run. And then you're going to watch your production take off. Absolutely take off. Derek says the whole point of the Beast offense is to prevent getting tackled in the backfield. That's a coaching issue, not a formation issue. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Beast formation, guys, and I'm not just saying this because I sell the playbook and I got it, because there's a lot of other coaches who teach the Beast formation. But one thing about the Beast formation is that it's so easy to install. It's extremely easy to install, guys. If you are a beginner coach or a seasoned coach, it's super easy for your boys to learn. And then if you teach your boys how to block, you're going to have a very fun season. Because if you run in the single wing with this unbalanced line, you run in the Beast with the unbalanced line, you're going to dominate the trenches if you teach your kids how to block. You got 7 blockers at the point of attack on the play side, and you also have 7 on the line of scrimmage. It's no excuse for teams to get penetration unless you haven't taught your kids how to properly block. They don't even have to be like masters of blocking, right? If they can just put helmet on helmet and occupy their man in front of them, you can be that simple and say, we're going to just drive block. We're going to take the man that's in our outside gap, in front of us, inside gap, whatever. You will have a field day in the Beast offense. It's just too many blockers. Coach John says, what are your thoughts on the wing T offense? I absolutely love the wing T offense. A lot of you guys know we ran that in high school and junior high. I went to a school where we kind of had a system going where the middle school coach would teach the same thing the varsity team teaches. And so we was a wing T school. So the wing T has worked great for us. I mean, I was a tight end. So I was more of a blocking tight end in the wing T. I did have a few plays for me, like the waggle pass and the tight end pop pass for me. But always been a fan of the wing T offense. It's a tried and true offense, and it works. Absolutely. Let's see. Fran Landscaping says, we had coaching issues last year, and that's because coaches on staff simply did not believe in the system. Okay. Great question, Coach, or great comment. So this is my warning to you guys, and I made a video on this a while back. If you're going to run the Beast offense, most coaches are not going to get it. They're not going to understand it until you run it, okay? I'm going to just tell you that. Until you run it, a lot of your coaching staff not going to understand it. Why? Because they know the single wing offense, but they don't know the Beast offense. And so you have to show them better than you can tell them. And you being the head coach, you just got to run it. Man, look, let me tell you something. We were undefeated, 13-0, averaging 42 points a game. And I still had parents. I didn't have coaches that much because my coaches was already bought in to whatever I did. But I had parents coming to me and saying, you know, why are you running the Beast offense? Or this is a boring offense. You know what? We putting up 42 points a game. We're beating teams 42-0, 42-6, whatever. Games ending in the third quarter, and we got parents complaining. You got to do you, coach. You got to coach. You the coach. The parents are not the coach. The assistant coaches are not the head coach. You got to do what you believe is best for your squad. Because one thing I learned, even as a content creator teaching this stuff, is that you're going to have unbelievers. You got guys who will come on here and they will say, hey, the Beast is not a real offense. It don't teach football. But yet, you know, your kids go on to, you know, be these elite players, and your high school coach message you and say, thank you. Thank you. Because the biggest problem we have with kids who play youth football is that they don't know how to block or tackle or do the basic stuff right. The Beast offense will teach your kids how to do the basic stuff right if you're coaching your kids up correctly. Period. Period. So you telling me I'm getting all these messages from high school coaches saying, Coach Beast, can you talk to your youth guys about blocking, tackling, getting in a three-point stance, executing, holding on to the ball correctly, not fumbling the ball? Can you talk to these guys about it? Right? That's the biggest problems high school coaches are having. They're not telling me, hey, Coach Beast, the Beast formation is not a good formation. It's not a real formation. I hear that from youth football guys. From high school guys, I'm hearing, Coach Beast, please, please, please teach these guys or tell these guys to focus on blocking and tackling and focus on the fundamentals. The Beast is going to teach your kids how to execute fundamentally, period. Period. All right, let's see here. Coach Enrique, I hope I said that right, Coach. How would you attack a season with a quarterback that has never played the position? 9U. He's flag playing quarterback and doing well. Well, what you do is you just develop the kid like any other kid that's going to be quarterback, okay? You assess his skills, you see what he brings to the table. Is he a running guy? Is he a passing quarterback? Is he a dual threat quarterback? And then you put the right system around him that's going to work for him. This is a tip that I want to give you guys when it comes down to choosing a quarterback. For me, guys, I want my quarterback to be the smartest kid on the team. I want a smart kid. Yeah, I want a playmaker. That's gold, but I need a kid that can manage the game. So I want a kid that can manage the game, not fumble the ball, not create a lot of turnovers, but he can put the ball in the hands of my best player if he's not the best player, right? So I will work him in that way. I would not put a sophisticated formation around him either. You know, that's another thing. If he's not used to like complex formations and stuff, you know, I wouldn't necessarily go air raid, right? I may go more single wing, beast offense, double wing, wing T, diamond formation. I may run those type of formations, some more simplistic, until he gets really comfortable. Then I can kind of throw in the complex razzle dazzle motions and stuff like that. That's exactly what I would do. It's a great question. All right. And guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button for me, guys. Help me get out there, especially my YouTube family. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. I really would appreciate it. Let's get the likes up. Let's get them up. Let's go. Let's go. My personal goal, just so you guys know, on YouTube, my goal is to get to 100,000 subs. Y'all have been helping me so much get there. I mean, I've had about 1,100 new subs in about 2 weeks, which I really appreciate that. But the goal is big, right? We want to make youth football great again, and I want you to help me do that, all right? Let's try to get these likes up. And on IG, same thing, guys. We up to 155,000 followers on Instagram. Let's get that up. My goal for Instagram right now is 300,000. Y'all help me reach that, guys. I really appreciate you guys so much. Coach Mason says, let me put it up here. How do you compete with flag leagues? They take all the kids in our territory. Okay. So here, I'm in the South, guys. I'm in Alabama. So we live, breathe football. Like you, I mean, you come out the womb, you an Alabama Auburn fan. You got to pick. Okay. So, hey, really here in Bama, the parents pick the team for you. And then when you hit 18, you got freedom to pick which team you want to represent here in the state, right? So we don't have the flag football problem as much, but we do have it where a lot of the travel ball teams take the rec league kids, right? So that's a similar comparison. What you do, this is what you do, all right? Here's the secret sauce. You have to get started early recruiting your kids. You have to build relationships with the kids that's already on your team. Have them, because this is the thing. When you use your kids who's already on your team, they got cousins, they got best friends in school who will play on your team. But you got to let these kids know, look, we want to add more people to our team. And then before you know it, the next season, you got big kids, you got fast kids. You like, man, you know what? You know, and kids will come to you and say, hey, this is my cousin. He just moved, you know, from Dallas. He's here now. He want to play football. Boom. Now you got a big right tackle or right guard or whatever, right? That's how you do it. You got to start early. You got to start now. I'm going to say that again. You got to start now, because you're competing against baseball. You're competing against track. You're competing against flag football leagues. So the more parents and kids know who you are and what you're doing, that's what's going to give you the advantage. And building relationships is not enough. You know, going to the schools and stuff is important. Let the administrators know who you are. You know, I'm Coach Beast. I'm starting a new football program here in my city. You know, we're trying to help all the kids in this neighborhood, period. And they're gonna say you got a flyer or something, you better have flyers. I try to have at least 200 flyers. Any school I go to, I'm trying to have 200 flyers. If the school, oh man, good take, Miss Beast. Miss Beast says, let me put this up on the screen because she hit goal right here. She says, outmarket them. Outmarket them 100%. You, as a youth football coach, got to see yourself as a brand, okay? You can't see your youth football program as a program. You got to see it as a high school prep program. You got to see yourself as a community leader. And when you're reaching out to these organizations, these kids, these parents, you got to let them know who you are and what your intent is. If you're seen as average, they're going to treat you as average, and you're not going to get no kids, okay? So that's phase one. Reach out to people in the community, reach out to the kids on your team, reach out to parents, all of that, right, from your previous squad, okay? If it's your first year coaching, skip reaching out to kids on your team, reach out to people in your community, okay? Number one. Number two, you got to go on social media, brand yourself on social media. Very important. Everybody on social media know I'm Coach Beast, okay? Everybody know I'm Coach Beast. In my local market, they know I'm Coach Beast. They know my wife is Miss Beast. That's our brand. That's how we positioned ourselves. And then we're putting posts about things that we're doing in the community for the kids. And guess what? Quality parents want their kids to be part of something quality, right? Like attracts like, okay? So you reach people through social media, use it to your advantage, okay? And here's number three, and this is the really important one, okay? Number three is you want to have camps set up in the spring, starting in March next month. Start having camps March, April, where these are just fundamental camps for the community. Have hot dogs, grill, burgers, whatever for these kids, and just do fun, fundamental drills, okay? Throw the football with them. You know, have them run sprint. Just fun stuff, though. Fun, all right? Keep it fun, totally fun. Because kids, when they come to your camp, they say, man, I had so much fun. I want to play for this team, right? While you're doing that, this is what you do, coach. You want to have a list, have them register, pre-register for your team, okay? If registration not open until the summer or the fall, have them pre-register. What you do is have them put their name, put their email address, their phone number, and then you reach back out to these parents within 2 weeks to a month. 2 weeks preferably, okay? Because you do a month, now they mind somewhere else, okay? Everybody attention moving fast, right? Reach out to them within 2 weeks. Let them know you're doing another camp next month, for example. And then, you know, if it's free, I do recommend this camp being free. Invite them again, okay? Then the second time you invite them close to the season, that's when you do the call to action. You know, hey, we want, I love little Johnny. I want him on the team. I see him doing big things on the team. Now the parents' motor is going, oh, I like this coach. He believes in my kid. And before you know it, guess what? You got a team before the season even starts. That's how you do it. That's how you do it, right? And then in the summertime, let's say when school's out, May, June, that's when you start doing your summer workouts. That's when things start to get serious, right? That's when you're doing conditioning, you installing, you kind of instilling leadership principles into the kids. You can start installing blocking and things of that nature if you got the kids for it. It like for me, usually in the summer, I got a core group of kids. I don't have like a whole team, but I may have, let's say, 8 to 10 kids out there, and I'm conditioning them. I know they're going to be my leaders once the season starts. And then when the rest of your team comes, guess what? You already got a core that's ready. They know your system. They're leaders. And now you're ready to play football. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Did that help? If that helped, do me a solid. Hit that like button. If that helped, give me some love. Show me some love. Let me know if what I'm saying is helping you guys. Because I want to make sure I'm helping you. If I can't help you, I definitely don't want to hurt you. All right, Squad Up says, hey, coach, what advice do you give a child who will be transitioning from rec to travel football? Okay, great question. Great question. So the best advice I give a kid is for them to be themselves, listen to their coach, and buy into the process. That's it. Here in Bama, the travel leagues tend to have more talent and be stacked with talent, which I'm not a big fan of. I like kids to have the same experience they would have in high school. In high school, you got kids with talent, kids who are more mid, and then you have kids who need more development. I like teams like that because it's fair to the coaches. The coaches are able to really develop their entire team and not just have this star-studded, talented team and you just run in and kind of play and stuff happen. I like to develop and go through the process and the journey, of that. But, at the end of the day, football is football. And if the kid has talent or potential, if you develop him right, he's going to develop into something to where he adds value to the team. And so that's what you do. And you don't want to be too hard on the kids, especially when they're young, like 9, 10. Just let them develop. And the most important factor is, as a coach, you wanted your kids to really develop in character. You want them to develop in leadership. You want to teach them the things that make them good people and good players, right? So that's kind of the route that I would go, coach. I keep it simple and keep it real. You don't have to do nothing extra per se if they're transitioning from rec to travel. I prefer rec personally, but if you're going to go the travel route, just have the kid be themselves and they'll be okay. All right. Mason says the previous board and coaches ruined our program with drama and just bad coaching and daddy ball. And let's see, Mason also says they had 18 players we had 18 players on our team and the other team had 44. Okay, so here's my take on that. Guys, believe it or not, I like smaller teams. I like to have a smaller team. Because when you got a team that's loaded with 44 players, all them players not going to play. All them players not going to play. For most teams that got like really big rosters, let me be honest with you. It's for looks. It's for looks and intimidation. Most of these teams have all these players and the same 18 to 22 is going to play. The other key, and guess what? A lot of coaches with these big rosters, and if you got a big roster and a coach, I'm not talking crap about you. This is just the truth. If I'm lying, let me know in the comments. All right. Most of these coaches with the big rosters, they run into roster management issues big time because they're trying to figure out how they're going to get all these kids the proper playing times without having the parents complain. Because like usually with my programs, we will get, let's say on average, 18 to 22, 23 kids on my squad, and I love it. I don't want a lot of players on my team because it becomes a roster management nightmare. I can manage it because I know how to manage it, but I don't want to manage it. I want to focus on developing the players that I have. And so my teams are like freaking, we like a freight train, man. Like, the best example I like to use, the movie 300, and you got the 300 Spartans going against this big army, right, of Xerxes, right? Well, my team will come in with 18 to 22 guys, and we will beat the crap out of this loaded, 30-man roster, 35-man roster, because we develop every single one of our players, and every single one of our players are prepared to play at any given time, right? Most teams, they focus on those good guys, the starters, and then maybe a few mid-tier guys, but another third of that team is full of developmental players or players who got talent, but they never see the field because the coaches fail to develop all of them and manage them properly. So, like Miss B said, and Miss B's on it today. She says, facts. Don't let those big rosters fool you. Facts. Don't let those big rosters fool you. Quick story about that. The very first game I coached, we played a team called the West Side Raiders. Shout out to them. They've been rooting in Tuscaloosa for, 40, 50 years, man. And so everybody know this team. Everybody put their kids on this team. And I remember playing this team, and I remember they had so many kids on the roster. They came over the hill onto the field, and it almost looked like a dark cloud came on the field, right? Because their colors was black and silver, like the Las Vegas Raiders. And my kids, at my first year, only had 13 kids, and the kids was just instantly terrified, petrified, right? I look and I'm like, oh shit, oh crap, right? Like, like this the team that beat our tails undefeated for 4 years straight, and now I'm coaching against this team, right? So what ended up happening was they came out there and we whooped their tail. We beat them 22 to, I want to say 13. They scored at the end, but we dominated them the whole game with my 13 guys, and they had a roster of about 35 kids, 35 kids, if not more. And they wasn't a scrub team. They known to be a good program, right? And we whooped them. Why? Because I was able to develop every single one of my guys, and they knew their job. They knew what they was doing, and they just did their job. And we got that dub, and we beat them later on in the season too. We got that dub too. So don't focus on big rosters. Don't let that fool you. Don't let it fool you, because 9 times out of 10, a third of that roster is not even going to see the field unless they're just getting in 1 or 2 plays of special teams. Coach Ruffin says, Coach, how do you feel about using multiple quarterbacks? I love it. If it works for your system. I've used multiple quarterbacks in the past. I like to have 2 that I can put in at any given time. Usually my first quarterback is going to be the smartest, most ever-free guy. My second one's probably more of a playmaker, or I may need him for special situations. And let me say this about my skill guys. I will rotate my skill guys in at quarterback, especially if we run in the beast. Y'all know if I'm running the beast, I'm using all 4 of my beast backs, period. I'm using all 4 of them. And so I try to take advantage of the talent I have, and I try to change the speed and the tone of the game throughout the game. For example, I may have a power back. I may have a speed demon. I may have more of an IQ guy that's more of a, like a manager, game manager. And then I may have another kid that's more balanced, or maybe another speed guy, right? I'm using all of them because it changes the dimensions of the game. If we're running off tackle and hitting teams with dives with our power guy, then we start going to Beast 2.0 offense, and we're running more jet sweeps, orbit motions, rocket motions. I'm using my speed demons, or we may go air raid, and we maybe do some nasty stuff. I make it a duty to use all of my kids and be able to set up formations for them to put them in the best position to be successful. So that's what I do as a coach. I don't just use one or 2 of my best players to run the ball. Now, as the game go along and we got a kid that's hot, I may, feed him because he's a hot hand, but my baseline is I'm using every single player. That's what I do. CL Garrett says, I got board members yelling at me for holding their kids accountable, which I thought was the point of football. Both I've had to deal with the politics of modern youth football landscape. That is, okay, I got you. So let me be real with you guys, okay, about something. If you are a disciplinary coach, and if you can help it, I would not join a league or get on a team where I have a board or directors, okay? Because what I've learned in youth sports, especially youth football, you got a board, you got too many people talking, it creates politics, it creates drama, because everybody got their own freaking agenda. And that's the problem. Everybody got their own agenda. And then it gets toxic fast, and then you run into problems fast. I'll never forget, I was coaching about 3-4 years ago now, and this team had a board. We had a board too, but our board was, mainly the coaches, my assistant coaches. And I did it that way intentionally because I knew my coaches would follow my lead because they bought into my coaching philosophy. Usually when you got these boards, guys, it's harder for people to buy into your philosophy. Somebody got their own agenda. Somebody want their son to get more playing time. Somebody want to do more activities outside of football, and they want to control all of that. Somebody wants to, change the color of your jerseys, or they want these color jerseys opposed to that color jerseys, right? And so it create problems that you don't want to deal with as a youth football coach. You're not getting paid for this crap to put up with that crap, right? So I would say if you can help it, don't be a part of a board. If you have to be a part of a board, make sure that people understand your leadership style, your philosophy, and you have to not be Mr. Nice Guy, because if you are Mr. Nice Guy, they will run amok on you. I've seen it. I remember having a coach. We were playing against a team. We was like we wasn't 5 minutes late. We had a kid come to the game that was 5 minutes late. And in the league I was in at that time, you get fined like $400, $500 if the kid late. And we had a kid come in late. It was a game out of town. Parent wasn't familiar with the location, and they finally found the field 5 minutes late, whatever, right? Go on to play the games, all our games done, said and done. Then at the end, we was getting ready to leave, and one of the board members of the other team called me into the office, and I thought that was fishy, because usually in this league, we would like split money. Like let's say, for example, and I think this particular game, it was supposed to be our home game at our home field, which we would get the funds of the gate, right? Well, this team asked if we could play there instead of our home field. No problem, right? So anyway, they called us in there and they said, well, you had a player 5 minutes late. You owe us $400. Now, mind you, the head coach was sitting down, and he was quiet because he knew he and I already talked, and I told him, look, I got a kid running late. And he was like, oh, man, don't worry about it. No big deal whatsoever, But the board wanted that money. And one of the board members was trying to strong arm this coach and make him, charge us $400. And he said, no, I talked to him. I'm going to be a man of my word. I'm not going to do it. But this lady was trying to embarrass him. So I spoke up and said, stop trying to talk to this coach any kind of way. Stop trying to manipulate. I think that's the term I use. Stop trying to manipulate this coach. And she got embarrassed because I called her out. Now, mind you, this lady, she's not used to nobody putting her in a place. So when I put her in a place, things moved out with my people, their people, and we was good. But that lady, whenever she seen me, she walked by me. She wouldn't speak, which for me personally was fine because I'm not the type to have nobody being disrespected or done wrong. I don't care if it's the opposing coach that I'm going against, right? So boards, I'm not a fan of them, guys. If you can avoid them, avoid them. All right. Little Brote one. I hope I said that right. Do you have any tips for a first-time head coach? Yes, sir, I do. I do, as a matter of fact. Build relationships with as many coaches as possible. This is a relationship business. This is not you against the world type of business, even though you'll feel that way starting off. I had that me against the world mentality. And, leave your ego at the door as well, because, you may win a lot of games. That don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing. It just means that you got a good program. You can win a championship. That just means that you a good coach or your team won that championship. Enjoy it with your program, but don't expect nobody else in your league to care. Most don't care whatsoever. I don't care if you win 5 championships in a row. Most people don't care. Okay. The only people going to care is the people associated with your program that particular year. Okay. So, leave your ego to the side. Be humble, build relationships, because the same person that's a youth football coach now may be a high school coach or a college coach down the road. And because of the relationship that you built with them, what? They want you on their staff. And now you got an opportunity to coach at the high school or college level. It's all about relationships, right? So that's what you want to do. Number 3, last tip. And I wish somebody would have told me this. Each year, it's a new year. Okay. If you win a championship the previous year, don't expect to win one the next year. You got to put in the same work, the same grit, grind that you did the previous year, especially because this youth football, just like any other level of football, you're going to have a brand new team, new sets of kids. Even if you got some coming back, a good third coming back, it doesn't matter. You still got to grind with those kids. They got to build chemistry and they got to execute together as a unit, because you can't play for them on the field. You feel me? You can't play for them on the field. So that's what you want to do. Don't come into it with a mindset, well, we was this good last year. What's going on? We won a championship last year. Why we done lost, 2 of our 3 games or 4 games? Because it's football. It's football. Because other teams you're playing, they getting better too. They getting kids too. They getting new kids. So the dynamics change each year. All right. Hope that helps, Coach. Kenneth says, what's up, Coach? What is your backfield types for your male and I? And have you ever flexed both ends out on either side? How did it work? Okay, great question, Coach. So to answer your first question, I like to run the Maryland I formation when I got a big, powerful running back. I like to put him as my 4, just because for some reason, when I run the Maryland I formation with a big guy, he tend to just do damage. Okay. So I like to run with a big guy as my 4. I like to hide my speed guy as my 3. My 2, which is more of a fullback type, I put my power back. He may not get the ball as much, but he's like kind of the lead blocker. So if you think about it, think about a regular I formation. You got the fullback and the halfback, right? So you got the fullback type, and then your halfback type is more of a speed guy. And then you got the Maryland I that puts an extra back in the backfield, right? And I put my big guy back there. Now, let's say you don't have a power running back, right? That's fine. Put your best athlete as your 4 and run. You can run a lot of off tackle and sweep stuff with that speed demon. I did that as well. Now, the secret sauce too of running the Maryland I formation is if you got a dual threat quarterback, you can go into the Maryland I and run a lot of QB bootlegs. Man, devastating, guys. Now, to answer your other question, have you ever flexed both the ends? I have. For me and my team, I like to only flex 1. I don't like to flex 2 for blocking purposes, because kind of the game plan that I have when I run the Maryland I is we play power football, and we like to really attack off tackle. We do sweeps as well, but we really like to attack off tackle in the interior, right? So the more blockers I have to put on helmets, I like that. Now, one thing I absolutely love to do with my wide receiver is I get ISOs a lot and if I got a really good wide receiver and he's on an island with a corner, I'm going to say a sorry cornerback, or with a cornerback that's not that talented. Let me be politically correct here. You will have a lot of touchdowns just off of play action passes in the Maryland I formation if you got that wide receiver who can make those plays, right? So that's what I do, right? Now, the Maryland I formation is such a versatile formation. You can spread those ends out, and you can do a lot of window dressing if you want. We did a lot of reverses, like wide receiver reverses. Love doing that as well, right? So, you know, that's kind of the angle. Think about it like this. Play action pass game. Think about it like that. Run the Maryland I formation like a play action pass offense, where you're establishing the run, then you go over the top. That's the beauty of the Maryland I. Enough said. Enough said. All right. Appreciate y'all for joining. Appreciate y'all. IG crowd. Let me get to y'all questions. And if y'all haven't already, do me a solid, hit that like button. Appreciate y'all so much. Love you guys, man. Absolutely. Love what you do. I know how hard it is to coach youth football at times. Oh, I see a great question here. The thing I hate about my IG page, I get so many questions and the comment section just slides down by itself. Derek says for youth ages, if another team has an absolute stud running the ball fast and bigger, and you use the 4-4 Reaper, hold on, guys, just scroll down. How do you stop their stud? Do you mirror him? Let me see. Do you mirror him with two kids no matter what? Okay, so let's say a team got a stud, and I love teams that got maybe one stud or maybe two, because now we know who to target. Okay, whenever I'm establishing my defense, now my outside linebackers know their key guy is going to be the running back, no matter what. Okay, whether we're running the 6-2 defense, the 4-4 defense, or the 4-2-5, we're keying in on the running back if you're an outside linebacker. My middle linebackers spy on the quarterback, okay? That's typically what we do. And then we have our defensive tackles, our interior tackles keying in on the quarterback as well. We don't care if the running back is a stud guy or not. We're going to consider him the best athlete on the team, okay, until it show us otherwise, like if the quarterback is the best or they got a wide receiver that's the best. And so we're going to play very aggressive on the edge, blitz the edge 80% of the time, typically, unless the team, you know, is good at playing against a blitz. So we're targeting that halfback. If they're off tackle, we're sending them. You know, if they're running off tackle plays, we're sending our guys, right? And we're playing good gap contain. That's the key. If they're running off tackle, good gap to contain, we want that kid to bounce the ball out to our best tacklers, right? If they're running sweeps, and this is something I've learned, if they're running sweeps, we're trying to seal the edge and force them back to the inside to our monsters, right? On the interior. So we're betting, this is what we do. We are betting that we can control the trenches and we can force that running back to improvise. And we want to force him to the inside. We don't want to force him to the outside. I like to force him to the inside, because we force him to the inside. Now our middle linebackers are able to flow, help clean up. Our defensive ends, you know, I like with my defensive ends and defensive tackles, guys, I like for them to occupy the gap. You know, something that a lot of coaches do is they tell the kids, shoot the gap. And they play so aggressive that they have no gap discipline. They run right by the running back or right by the quarterback, whoever carrying the ball. I like to make sure my defensive tackles are playing gap control, and then my outside linebackers, even my cornerbacks, I let them eat. That's what I like to do against studs, and it's been so effective for us. So effective. It's all about gap control. If you can control the trenches, you can control the game. And that's what you want to do. The reason why a lot of stud teams, they only got one good stud, so effective, is because the defense is not controlling the gap. They're getting pushed back. They're not focused on the ball carry. They're focused on the guy blocking them. And that becomes very problematic, you know? And we teach our kids gap control is everything. Because we got gap control and that kid can't hit the C gap. And now he's like, oh crap, let me try to go to the outside. Oh crap, I can't do that either. Let me go to the inside. Boom. Run into one of our big defensive tackles or something like that, or linebackers. Great question. Great question. Spacey says, I joined the board for the youth football program I once coached for. I regretted it. Not everyone has the same vision and just look to keep the daddy ball culture alive. I'm telling you, man. That's facts. I'm telling you, like, there's no board that I know in youth football. Now, I know there's some good boards out there somewhere, but in my experience, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for drama with a board, because everybody got their own agenda right on this board. Some may have a pure agenda. Let's use this. Let's say you got a 5-man board and you got 2 people on the board that got the same agenda. They say, well, I just want this program to be the best it can possibly be. Both of them got the same reason. My goal is to make this youth football program the best it can possibly be. Guess what? That interpretation is subjective, because one person's definition of that vision of that may look completely different from the other person that's saying that. And now you got problems. I want to make this youth football program the best it can be. I think we should have green and gold jerseys. And the other guy says, well, I want to make the youth football team the best it can possibly be. I want them to have red and white jerseys, right? And now you got a problem. Now you got people debating on freaking football jerseys. I eliminate all that noise. It's noise and it's unnecessary. And don't throw money in there. If you got, if your program is, let's say, I was in a travel football league where we get money for our program based on people paying at the gate. They pay $5. And so, maybe at the end of the game, we'll have $1,000. Let's use easy math. $1,000 left over. You get that $1,000, you give it to the treasurer, and now everybody on the board, like, oh, we got $1,000. Oh, we need to get a trailer to haul the equipment in. Oh, we need new ice boxes. We need, I want to get backpacks for the kids, whatever. And now you got problems because everybody got a vision for what they want to do with the money, and it just creates problems. So the way my organization is ran is like so. I'm the athletic director, president of the program. I'm over, everything in terms of putting fires out, the overall leadership of the program. Miss Beast is my vice president. Now, Miss Beast wasn't my vice president initially. She was just my team mom on the team, but she did so good that I made her the VP the next year. Now, the role I have my VP play is they're responsible for all off the field activities, volunteer stuff, making sure the kids have, water, resources, things of that nature for the entire program though. Okay. So you got me, the athletic director, the president, then you have a VP. Now, let me say this before I go to the other stuff. And men, this is me talking to my men on this one, okay? My VP, Miss Beast, yes, she's my wife, but I like to have a woman at VP because I like for the women to talk to women. I like that personally because a lot of the things that the females come to you about has a lot to do with non-football activities. And if it is about football, it's something crazy, right? No disrespect to the women if you're watching. But when I say crazy, I mean like, the parents may come to you and say, hey, I want to go to academy and get my kids some blue socks. I know it's different from the team, but I want to swag them out a little bit with some blue socks and some gloves. Can I wear that? And I don't want to answer that question. I don't care. In my program, I don't care. That's a VP. That's my wife. And my wife will give you that answer, right? I remember this time where with the moms, shout out to the moms. I love them. I remember this time that the moms came out to practice and we're doing drills, right? I run my program very organized, right? So they came out to the field and started getting in the drills with the kids. And I told the parents, I said, look, you got to go. You can't be on the field while practice is going on. They literally came out there and they wanted to do the drills and stuff with the kids, during a regular practice. That was a big no-no. And so, I told my VP, look, we got to let the parents know this is their parent spot. And I allocate a location for the parents to sit, which for us is usually around the field. It's like a track around the field. And so the parents sit on the other side of the track, the outside part of the track, right? Or if they want a little closer look, there's some trees like shade, and they could sit under the trees and watch the kids practice. But what you don't do is come on the field, get into practices with the kids. You don't even know what the hell you're doing. And you're out there, this is not, the YMCA, or it's not a daycare. This is not something where it's a parent kid activity at that point, right? So I had to let the moms know that. The dads knew because, a lot of the dads play football before they get it, and they don't go out there. But the moms, they just didn't know better. And so they would come out there and I have to tell them, hey, you can't be out there on the field. I appreciate you caring, but can't be out there on the field. All right. So let me real quick get back to my organizational structure, right? So I'm the president by AD, you got the VP, right? Then we break up the leadership, okay, across the organization. I do have a cheer director that's over all the cheer programs, oversee all the cheer programs, okay? Then from there, we break it up. The 12U squad has their own, of course, head coaches, at least 2 assistant coaches, at least 2, no more than 4 assistant coaches. Then they have a team mom as well, okay? Then you go down to the 10U, same thing. Head coach, 2 to 4 assistant coaches, a team mom, so on and so forth. Every tier got that, okay? So if the team mom, for example, on the 10U squad is having problems with something, they'll go to my VP, which is over that stuff, right? And she's going to address whatever the issue is if it's something to be addressed, right? Me being the AD, I'm responsible for all the head coaches in my program. If they got a problem or need to put out a fire or an issue with a parent that they can't handle, that's when they get me to come in. And that's what I do. I keep it simple. And every team also has a cheer coach. Okay. Every other team has a cheer coach and they report to the cheer director. Okay. So that's literally how I run my ship. I don't have a board. If I can help it, I never have a board. I know a few years back, we was in this travel league and we had to have a board. And so, like I said, I had my assistant coaches be a part of the board as well as my team mom, a few team moms. So, all right. All right, guys, I'm going to be on here for 5 more minutes. I'm going to get to a few more questions. And Again, guys, if you haven't already seen with the banner, my Beast Unleashed playbook bundle, all 16 of my playbooks, defense and offense, is 85% off. All you got to do is go to my stand store, get that, because it's all of my playbooks, my entire system. You also get a bonus. You get a bonus. If you haven't already, you're going to get my offensive blocking drill book absolutely free. So it's a no-brainer. And I promise you this, it won't be 85% off long. All right. So get it while it's extremely affordable and really a steal. YGN says, how do you handle parents who won't let you coach because hold on, scrolling now, because they want their son to be the star? Well, great question. First and foremost, I'm gonna say this to you guys because most of you guys are going to deal with two major issues this season. Okay, two big issues. Okay, issue number one, you're going to deal with parents who want to do what they want to do in your program. They want their son to start. They got an agenda. They want to be over something in your program, you know, and then you're going to have assistant coaches that's like that as well. Okay. If you're the head coach. Now, some of your assistant coaches, you may have a head coach that's kind of a tyrant and, you know, he's an a-hole, won't listen to nobody, just a bad leader. But if you're the head coach, the way you deal with a difficult parent is, number one, before the season starts, that first parent meeting, you got to set the tone. You got to set the tone. You got to let the parents know what your rules are, what you'll tolerate, won't tolerate. You let them know, you know, what your practice days are, what will happen if your kid misses a practice day. Let the parents know that, you know, they're not allowed on the field. Anything that you are not for, you are against, that's when you need to let that be known. Because if you don't, and you become a yes man, and you don't set the rules and the expectations, they're going to create their own. And that's when you're going to start having problems. I have a parents meeting usually in the summer with my kids who sign up for the summer workouts. Then I have another one before the season starts with fall practice in August. Okay. And I also have a coaches meeting in the summer, and I have a coaches meeting in the fall as well, because we do get a few, you know, parents who may want to volunteer as a coach or something, and we have that meeting. Both of these meetings, I set expectations, and I'm harder on the adults than I am on the kids at the beginning. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm hard on everybody. I'm kind of military when it comes down to it, but I'm harder on the parents because they are the ones who control a lot of what the kids do. Meaning, the kid's not driving yet. If the kids are 6U to 14U, they're not driving yet. So, you know, I make sure that the parents let them know they're responsible to make sure the kids on practice before time. Practice started, let's just say 5 o'clock. If you can make it at 4:50, excellent. Okay. Parents responsible for picking their kid up, or making sure, you know, a responsible adult is there to pick their kid up. That we know that's on the list. You know, mom, dad, grandma, granddad, big sister, big brother, whatever, right? Aunt, uncle. So we make sure that is known, but we also make sure that if a kid missed practice, what's going to happen if a kid missed one practice? You know, they won't play a quarter. If they miss 2 practices, they won't play a half. They miss 3 practices, they may not even play. You know, if a kid can't make it for whatever reason, let us know in advance if you can. You know, you saying I got to work is not an excuse, because you knew you had to work 9 times out of 10, 2 weeks before time. Also, if a parent, let's just say a parent has to work and they work a lot, because we do have parents that work a lot, which I don't have a big problem. I really don't have issues with, because it seems like the parents that actually work a lot still make sure their kid come to practice. But we have a carpooling system that if a kid can't make it for whatever reason, let us know in advance, because we got a carpooling captain, which is usually a parent in that area, and he or she'll swing by and pick up the kid. And that's the problem. I mean, that's the solution. We address those kind of problems with having a carpooling system. Now, some parents, and you're gonna get it. I'm telling you, you're gonna get this issue. Nowadays, you got parents saying, well, my kid can't make it to practice because it's his birthday and he having a birthday party, and they tell you an hour before practice. Unacceptable. You know, I've had parents in the past to say, well, my kid won't be able to make it to the game. They got a birthday party this morning. And I'm like, why are you letting us know this an hour before the game? And this kid is our running back or our quarterback or our center, like a critical position. You knew your son birthday was Saturday, going to be Saturday, the same time as the game. And you just let me know an hour in advance. It's just unacceptable. You're going to run into parents like that, even if you establish the rules, right? That's why it's important to make sure you always have a plan A, B, and C, that if a kid can't make it, guess what? Next man up, right? Next man up mentality. You got to do that. You got to do that, because if you don't do that, it's weird how parents are. If one parent does it, you're going to have another parent that's going to try it on you, and then another parent is going to try it on you. And then before you know it, your culture is screwed up because the parents got this thing now where they're going to do whatever they want to do, and they're going to show up and do whatever they want to do. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me in the past, and I don't want it happening to you. And this is another thing, really important. If you are a coach, especially the head coach, and you got a tendency to be 5 minutes late to practice, or you showing up late to practice, you are self-sabotaging yourself big time. Because as soon as you are 5-10 minutes late and the parents are on time, guess what's going to happen next practice? They're going to be 5-10 minutes late, and you're going to be wondering where your kids are. So it's super important to make sure you're on time for, your own practice. I take pride in making sure I'm the first man there and the last man to leave. That's what I do. That's exactly what I do. Because I don't want to leave and then something happen. Somebody get into a fight or some crap happen, and they like, what, a head coach or the AD, and I left 5 minutes before everything went down. I try to make sure everybody is gone and accounted for before I leave. And so you want to follow that example, because if you don't, like I said, I remember a program we was thinking about merging with, and the coach was late for practice, and the coach was 20 minutes late, the kids were 45 minutes late, and I'm like, I'm not gonna combine my program with this program, because we're gonna run into a lot of problems. And that's usually what happens. Jacob says, if you're early, you're on time. 100%. 100%, especially in football. I mean, if you show up to practice on time, I'm telling you, like when I say, if you practice like 5 o'clock and you show up at 5:01, you already screwed up, because now the parents are gonna show up and they're gonna come at 5:10, 5:15. Don't do it. You better be at practice early and be consistent. Key word, be consistent. That's the key. All right. Let me see if I got any more questions here. Guys, I'm about to go. If you got a question, drop it. I'm going to take one more question. Yes, coach, that's my website. The guys who's interested in my site, that's my site down there on the banner, okay? Let me see. I'm going to try to put the site in the comments as well. I'm going to put it in as Playbook website, okay? And I'm going to give you the link. Hopefully you can just click on the link. Boom, there you go. So I just put the link to the website for you guys who are interested in going to the Stand Store, checking out the playbooks, the drill books, things of that nature. And you should be able to, hopefully you can click on it and just go. If not, that's the link though. You can copy and paste it. My IG people, I'm going to do the same for you. Playbook website. Boom. Let me see. I dropped it in IG. It just went dark. I don't know if y'all got it or not, but it just went dark on me on my end with that. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Miss Beast. All right. So I'm gonna let me see. Hold on one sec. Okay, Mason says on the playbooks from your store, will you make the background on the plays white so I can print them off for the other coaches on the team? Okay, coaches, coach, this is what you do. Okay, because I had a coach ask this before and I gave him a solution. If I try to make it white, it's going to be a catastrophe with the amount of work I would have to do to change the color, the formatting, the font, and all of that. The playbook bundle got over 650 plays, and that's across 16 playbooks. It'd be a nightmare if I do that. What coaches have done though in the past is once you get the playbook and you print, you can actually change the color to like a gray grid. I recommend doing the gray grid because everything shows up normal. And I mean, I've had coaches, I wish I still had this coach that sent this to me, but he sent me a picture of the playbook he designed from my playbook. So he printed out the plays and made his own playbook, and it was beautiful. He had it kind of, kind of in a gray font instead of, and he was able to see everything. It was beautiful, man. So play with your printer settings, and you'll be able to do it like that. Okay. Because if I change all the colors and stuff with how everything is themed, it would be a living nightmare on Coach Beast. And I don't like nightmares. I don't like nightmares. I like good dreams. All right. Let me see here. Okay, Mark 8K says, what are some inspirational words for me as a 16-year-old running back? I'm gonna tell you something that I wish somebody told me when I played football at 16, because I was the kind of athlete where I didn't live up to my potential because I didn't have a lot of support. I had great parents, loved my parents, but my parents really wasn't for me playing football. My dad, he owned his own business. He was always working, so it was hard for him to come to all the games. And my mom was a very religious lady, and she really wanted me to stay focused in the church and not really play sports. Okay. Even though my brother, I had an all-state running back for a brother. And I really think the truth is they did so much with him in trying to get him to where he is. I think by the time I came around, which is a 9-year gap between me and that brother, I think they was just tired and didn't want to, kind of go through all of that. And so I think what I wish my parents or somebody would have told me is that, hey, don't give up. I believe in you. Don't stop. Don't quit. Put your all in it and have fun. I wish somebody would have told me that. Nobody told me that. Nobody told me that, you know, hey, man, I'm here to support you, whether you're starting or not. It doesn't matter. I'm here. I'm coming to your game. I'll be there. I didn't get none of that. So, whenever I hit adversity as a 16-year-old, I was like, I'm finna quit. Forget this. I'm finna quit. Why? Because I didn't have no direction. I didn't have nobody, telling me, hey, don't give up. If you want to play football and it's hard right now, don't quit it. Trust the process. Get stronger, get faster, get smarter, learn the game more, and have fun. What is your goal, right? Nobody asked me, what's your goal as a football player? What you want to do? My goal was never to go to the NFL or anything like that as an athlete. I love the game. I just wanted to possibly get a scholarship playing. I played basketball a little bit too. I was actually probably a better basketball player than football player. But I loved football. I didn't love basketball. And so, for me, if I had a mentor or somebody who believed in me, and I know it sounds like a sad story, play the violin, right? I gotta get some sounds in here. Like I gotta get the sad violin sound and all of that for for entertainment purposes. But yeah. So I'm here to tell you, kid, like you 16, you play football, you in rare company. Not everybody play football. Not everybody stays playing football at 16. So I'm here to tell you, don't give up. Have fun. Keep playing. If it fulfills you, if it's something that interests you, go all in. And if you ever need encouragement, somebody to talk to, I'm here. And you got thousands of other coaches here as well who can encourage you. All right. Hope that worked. Hope that helped. Hope that helped. Last question here. Is it better for me to do travel football or local football? It's really up to you, coach. I can only tell you what I would do if I was in your shoes. Me personally, I would do local football. If it's youth football, I'm doing rec. I like rec. I enjoy being able to develop kids on different levels. In my league, it's not toxic. You may run into some disagreements with the program director or something, but it's not toxic. I would do rec all day. It's in my opinion, and look, this is just my opinion. So if you got some of you guys are in travel league, I'm not knocking travel when I say this. I just think rec league is more pure when it comes down to their intent to develop kids. I think with the travel leagues, a lot of them, it becomes so toxic so fast. You have a lot of coaches who, are interested in winning. You have coaches who are focused on themselves, their ego, their accolades. You have parents gambling. You have fights break out. You have a lot of crap go on in these travel leagues that I don't like personally. I've coached both in rec and travel. Okay. And I didn't like on the travel side, I didn't like the drama. I remember being in travel and I just couldn't focus on football. I was focused on putting fires out and not getting fined by the league. And, very little had to do with football. And I was, it just wasn't fun. I'm just be honest. As a coach, it wasn't fun. It was a headache. And then when I, coach rec, I was able to focus on football and focus on building my program and focus on becoming the standard in my league, in the community. Like that was the goal for me. So I just don't, I'm not anti-travel unless it's one of these toxic leagues where coaches fighting, parents fighting, and kids aren't safe. That bothers me to no end. Y'all know that by my reaction videos on all these fights and crap. So yeah, I choose the path that allows me to do what I do best as a coach, which is develop. And I find that to be in rec leagues, no doubt. All right, guys. So that's it for this live. I hope you got value from it. I hope you got value. Again, if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Look, I got a lot of you guys chiming in, and the like ratio, the subscribe ratio is different for those who like it. And I'm trying to get this subscribe ratio up. So a lot of you are loving my content, but you're not subscribing. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you're on IG, make sure you follow your boy, Coach Beast, because I'm here. I'm here all day, every day. All right. Here to help you guys become the best of the best in your field. And again, my goal is to make youth football great again. And I want you guys to partner with me on this mission to make youth football great again. What that mean? Making youth football great again is meaning our programs are safe, they're professional, they're organized, and they're seen as a staple in the community. They're not just seen as some fly-by-day program. Some coach put a team together with a talent and then they beat everybody and just because they got more talent than everybody, or build a program where they're always fighting and doing stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, we know that to make football great again, it's going to take time. And it's going to take more than one person to do it. It's going to take us all. It's going to take a collective group of coaches to make youth football great again. And this is where it starts. It starts here, learning how to run your youth football program like a high school prep program, like a program that is respected, admired, it has class, has professionalism. That's my goal. No more of these. Let me just say it. I'm just going to say it. No more of these dangerous teams, these hood teams where, a lot of crap goes on, a lot of dangerous crap, and it just put our kid in a bad position. If you're going to coach in the hood, and this coming from somebody who's coached in the hood, most of my coaching career, like 8 years, 7, 8 years, I coached in the hood. And I'm here to tell you what these kids need to see is better. They need to see better. They need to get out of their environment, and they need to see what top class looks like. And they need to see that, there's more out in this world to see than just where they are. I mean, I remember coaching in the hood. We was heading to our game, and to get to our game, we had to go across the bridge to a more affluent side of town. Mind you, this other side of town was literally 5 minutes away from these kids. We went across the bridge. These kids seen these homes. These homes was like middle class, upper middle class, maybe like $200,000-$300,000 homes, maybe $500K tops. And these kids were amazed. You would think I took them to Hollywood or Beverly Hills somewhere, right? No, these kids stayed 5 minutes away, and they never seen a house like that before. Unbelievable. 5 minutes away. So it pays to take these kids and put them in a better area, a better location where they can see better, so they can know that, oh man, like it's more out here in this world than what I thought. I thought all was in this world was drugs and fighting, and I got to be tough and all of that. Like toughness is not you losing your cool and fighting and shooting somebody. Toughness is being able to deal with adversity like a champ and put your foot on his neck and dominate it and become a winner. That's what it's about. All day, every day. That's what it's about. All right. I hope you guys got value from this live. Shout out to everybody giving me love, man, that just came in. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys, man. Again, if you got any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Message me. Again, all my playbooks, 85% off in the Stand store. Get them while you can, man. I'm here to help you every step of the way. I'm Coach Beast. We here to make youth football great again. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Beast out.